How's it going, guys? This is the best physical build in Devas of Creation. Now let's get into it. For this physical build, you're going to need to use all three physical weapons. Now, we're not going to be using them all at the same time because obviously you can't, right? So we're going to be using two variations mainly to this build, but you can hybrid it and flex them around however you wish. Now, the reason you have to use all three is because if you're doing a boss fight, you're going to want to use the dagger and the bow, also for PvP most likely, because it does the most single target damage. And if you're going to be clearing mobs AoE, you're going to want to use the GreatSword because it has stronger AoE abilities compared to the dagger. Now, usually you always want the bow on because it's super strong, but I do find myself sometimes doing dagger and greatsword in like certain niche scenarios. All right, so I'm going to show you the attributes for this build first. What we're going to do is max strength. The reason we're maxing strength is because on a physical build, the most important thing is strength because it ups your base physical power. Now, crit in this game doesn't work super well, so doing a hybrid build is just kind of shitty and it doesn't feel good. And doing a full crit build, I can assume is kind of shitty because I was full crit at around level 20 and I was doing no damage. I switched to full strength and I instantly skyrocketed my damage. Now, because we're talking about our stats, I have to bring up race. Tough topic. I have this race on, the assassin race. Since strength I've found to be better than dexterity, you might want the horn race, but I have already picked the assassin race and I'm not going to make a new character or find a way to change it, and I kind of like how the assassin race looks. I don't think it really matters, but the horn race might be better because it does have more strength base and more health base. So if you were to go the horn race, it could be more of a min-max build. You're going to have higher base damage and higher base health than the assassin would. Now the assassin has higher crit chance and crit power, and you might be like, Chase, isn't that a good thing? No, because this build revolves around having this ability and this ability, which gives you a constant guaranteed crit. So you don't need crit rate when you have a guaranteed crit, right? So that leads into the abilities. So for the first isolated damage PvP abilities, we're going to be using Dagger. The main ability is Dagger Blink because it has these augments that guarantee crit and increase your crit. Now that's super strong because we can use it in combination with Solar Arrow, which is the highest physical power scaling ability in the game. You can add extra power onto it as well as cooldown to keep dropping nukes constantly. At this point, I've maxed out my damage against the dummy, so 120,000 is all you can do. And then if you go invisible, you get another crit, but it's not augmented like the first one, so this crit is only going to do 110,000. It seems like only a 10,000 damage difference, but I'm pretty sure the 120,000 damage is capped. Like, it won't do higher damage numbers on this dummy. So we would have to test it against like a mob, which we will do now. All right, so we're going to test it on this warlord because he is probably the one thing I will not one-shot at this point in the game. So I'm going to use the invisibility first. 5,192. Very cool. Okay, now for this next one. 6,012. So that's around 16% more damage. That's an insane increase overall. So, I mean, doing the crit augment on the Dagger Blink is definitely worth it. The rest of these abilities in here are just kind of for my liking. I like the silence on that ability and the AoE poison. I like the single target stun. It's really good for kiting. I like critical just because it just feels nice, but it's rarely ever usable. So fan might be better overall. And that's about it for the dagger version. Now for the AoE farming clear version, I have the bow with the same abilities on it because Solar Arrow is just too strong to not take. Then we will take, and for the GreatSword abilities, we'll use this one. I just like it better because it can heal you. And sometimes when you're progressing in harder dungeons, the healing is necessary because you just get hit every now and then and it kind of sucks. Now, if you didn't get hit a lot, maybe this one would be better. All abilities are kind of like preference. I like this one so far. As for the second ability, I think Skyren Strike beats it out in DPS by just a little bit, and it stuns them. So I do like Skyren Strike for stunning people. The spin is really good because you can get the crowd control immunity. Try out both, see what you like, but I like Skyren Strike better. And then for the last ability, it doesn't really matter. I was using Sonic. How How does that guy have a tail, bro? What? How does he have a tail? What the hell? Yo, if you know how to get a tail, let me know in the comments. Anyways, as for the third ability, I was using Sonic Impulse because this is a farming build, so the extra damage is nice. But I just recently switched to Sword Hook to try it out because it gives crowd control immunity, which is nice in PvP. More people are starting to PvP as the game gets older because people are becoming assholes and they're bored. And Sonic Impulse is kind of mid. It's like half the time it doesn't even go towards the target if you're not locked in. And personally, I don't like auto locking on targets because if you auto lock on a target and it's moving, you will miss your shot. So if you use lock on, you're kind of handicapping yourself, especially when it comes to PvP. Those guys are going to be running around like you don't know what to do. And then for Sword Hook, I took extra range just to make it super far. If someone's trying to run away from you, you can grab them and bring them back here. And then crowd control immunity, I mean, it just makes them stunned. So technically you can do this and loop it into Skyrun Strike for an even longer stun. And I think that's just insane. So I basically added this on for like a safety net when you're farming Catacombs, which is a PvP area. This is the best physical build in the game. It has a lot of variability in how you can play with it. A lot of the time I find myself even using Dagger GreatSword just because the Dagger allows me to amplify even the GreatSword abilities. So it'll cause my Skyrun Strike to do 108,000 damage, which is really good. So sometimes I use that because the sword is beefier. I can heal off it, and then I can use my dagger just to amplify the sword abilities, right? So that's super cool. Oh, that's oh what? That ability is insane. I haven't really tried out that ability yet, but I think that's what I'm gonna be going with from now on. I wanted to make this updated build guide though because we are pumping numbers now, and now that we have all the purple gear, as you can see, we got a bear too for extra health and health regen, and then we got this enchanted reindeer, which we're currently leveling up. So super cool things to come. Hope you guys liked. Leave a subscribe, comment. Let me know what you want to see. For all you guys that need help, I do stream on Twitch, so we're live every day. Hop in. I might be playing another game sometimes, but ask about whatever you want.